Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's episode 118 of Mike and Blaine. I am Mike Mylan, also known as Cashflow Mike. This is my partner, Blaine Birch of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. Blaine, what's up, man?
I am walking into dangerous territory today because my fridge was getting pretty low on beer, and I got on the, I think it was a 10.5, 11% here today. So anyway, it's gonna be a fun day. Let's get 118. We'll see if we can keep it on the trolley tracks.
Hey, so you are just going to give her today then, apparently.
I'm just going to give her, I'm getting started early on Thanksgiving and Black Friday and all that. So I'm taking Friday off. So I got a nice little long weekend mixed in here. So I'm excited, man. It's going to be fun.
Hey, speaking of giving her, did you check out Facebook where neighbor Pat is showing up with his shirt?
It's a beaut. It's beauty, man. We need a shirt on beauty too, but that's it's just giving her shirt. I love it. It just looked awesome. So yeah, you look like a superstar Canuck in that.
Yeah. So it's super funny, right? Because I like it. I like that logo on there, right? Because it's almost like a retro style of text that are on there. It reminds me kind of almost like our jingles, kind of that retro 90s sitcom type thing. And you just mentioned your favorite sitcom that you just posted on your page, your episode.
I posted on our page, on my page, and on the Mike and Blaine page. So if you're checking on Facebook, the Mike and Blaine page, I also put on my personal page because I just had to. It was the best segment from almost in sitcom history. Was the Thanksgiving episode on WKRP, As God Is My Witness. I thought turkeys could fly. If you haven't seen it, it is 5 minutes of just pure sitcom gold. It is just, I love it. I just started to watch it and I ended up watching the entire thing. Like, it's so, that clip is great. So go check it out.
That actually kind of leads me into today's segment of sales fiascos. I mean, because what you're describing, I'm not going to give it away. You go watch the clip, is a fiasco.
Yeah, it is. That's a great example. Yeah, is that sales or that'd be a marketing fiasco, which is right alongside sales fiasco. So great topic today. I'm excited to dive in.
All right, and speaking of our great topic, we have 3 great sponsors right now, and we're negotiating with a 4th, a big show sponsor. We're negotiating with right now, but 3 beer sponsors. We got 3. We got room for more. The first one, the CPA for lawyers and contractors out of Houston, Texas, Larry Weinstein. How's that? I was trying to do like a lineup, right? I was trying to do like a lineup, starting lineup. And then coming out of Ottawa, Canada, representing Canada on behalf of Blaine Birch, the gentle frog herself, Rachel Barnett. I got to tell you about Rachel. Rachel, if you want to learn QuickBooks 0 to 60, man, go check out her stuff, because if you don't know it and you need a little help learning it, go check out Rachel's stuff. It's for sure. And last, following up, the anchor of the team, the one, the only, the worst cornhole player on the neighborhood block, but best beer provider for the show, neighbor Pat. Now, I'm showing his beer right now, right? He gave me a growler of beer. Sorry. Shoot, it was revving up. I mean, he might have got double ovation there.
I don't know, that cheering just wouldn't quit, so I thought I'd just stop her.
They were just giving her all they could, right?
Always.
You know, not only does he bring a full growler of beer down for the show, he makes his own labels for the growler.
Beauty.
Right? Puts it on it, right?
Absolutely beautiful.
So this is a Neighbor Pat original. It is the Great Pumpkin Ale, right? So I'm going to have a pumpkin spiced ale during the show. Here he goes. Is that going to be enough to get you by? I'm like going, oh yeah, plenty.
I don't know. That's like a gallon.
And they're
That's a
always
beer
good.
should come by the gallon.
They're always good. So good. All right. So Larry Weinstein's coming to San Antonio in a couple of weeks. And he told me yesterday, he goes, hey, can you get some of neighbor Pat's beer for me and bring it, to our conference on the 8th and 9th of December? So absolutely. Yeah. Pat's already ready. He's going to be, filling you up a growler and bringing it over to Larry. So good deal. What are you drinking?
Sweet. Well, I like I said, I got to go do a beer run because everything in the fridge is just like, this was the lowest one, 10.5% of a pint of Fat Bear by Hot Butcher. And I can't remember where Hot Butcher is from, actually. Somewhere in the US. I'll have to look it up. I think there's a sticker over where they're from. So I'll have to look it up later. But it's delicious. It's a peanut butter Imperial stout brewed with chocolate. And it does have this, like, it's a beautiful stout that tastes a little bit like a peanut butter cup. It's delicious. And but I thought I don't know, Fat Bear just seemed like that's what you feel like when your sales calls are going bad. You just feel like a big fat bear standing there. So
or you're just like me sitting in the office every day. I feel like a fat bear most of the time.
What's not his worst things to feel like than a fat bear?
There's worse ways to start the show. I'm telling you. Hey, speaking of starting the show, we have got a website, mikeandblaine.com, where you can check out any episode. We got 118 of these things today, and I did the count, 46 episodes this year alone.
Nice.
46 episodes this year alone. So I mean, yeah, that's a lot. So we've been consistent and we're being rewarded, right? There's more downloads, there's more stuff happening, more people talking about it. This is where consistency paid off. We're not great at podcasting. We don't do any of the stuff you're supposed to do. This is as raw and cheap a production as you could get.
It is really. It's cash flow production right here. We know what cash flow means, so we're just like keeping her lean.
But it's hellacious fun, and I enjoy it, and it's starting to pay off. It just took 3 seasons. We're going to start season 4.
Yep.
We're going to start season 4.
And we're getting some legit downloads and really legit watches. That's the thing. That's where we're seeing it. Like that we're getting a lot of people watching us live, which is we're streaming 3 places right now, live as we're talking, and then we repost later, and we're getting some good traction here, which is really kind of fun. And as was it neighbor Pat who said, somebody scolded us for not actually promoting ourselves. So I'm going to dive in super quick. Larry, thanks, Larry. We're going to dive in super quick here. And I always talk about dry run. I always talk about, figuring out where you're going with your cash flow, figuring out where your sales are going, making decisions based on data, making decisions by visualizing what's going to happen in the future to your business. But I'm going to throw something else in here. Like, we're getting close to the end of the year. You got to kick off 2024, right? Don't wait till January 2. Come and talk with us, get set up, and start figuring out what you want to do in 24. How do you want to grow? What do you want to do with your business? What are some of the things you have to deal with? And we've got a new setup wizard in Dry Run, and we'll get you set up in like 2-3 minutes. It's crazy. So come and talk with us, dryrun.com, and we'll get you going.
It's really good. I went through that setup last week with you, and man, it just keeps getting better. I don't know how many times I say that, but every time you show it to me, I'm even more impressed. So great stuff.
And thank you again for kicking my ass up and down the block on that one, because that always happens, and I really appreciate it. Because honest, we need legit good feedback, and you always have legit good feedback. And so we've been talking about it as a team, and we're just rolling some of it in now. Some will come later, and it's all helpful.
Well, I'm glad, because I'm always afraid that you're going to stop being my friend after one of those calls.
Never, ever. I appreciate it. The worst thing is if you don't say anything, then it's no help. You give such bona fide help in such a short time. And I want to say that's your personality, and I want to pass it over to you, because that's what Mike gives, bona fide help. It's not bullshit. It's not a yes man. It's nothing like that. He will tell you the truth in your business, and he will help your business grow.
The best compliment I've gotten, and I haven't gotten it just once, right? I've gotten it from numerous people across the board that says, hey, I bought coaching programs before. I've actually engaged with consultants before. What you do differently at Cashflow Mike is it's not fluff. It's not bullshit. I'm just going to tell you what it is in language that we can all understand and you can take action on. It's not hypothetical. It's not conceptual. I might have to do that to kind of explain it. But then we're going to talk about specific actions to put more cash in your pocket. If you're not focused on cash, you're not doing the forecasting, then you're leaving money on the table, and we want to help solve that.
Yeah, absolutely. So come and visit us. That's our little promo. We managed to kick it in early on. So let's dive in.
Yeah, last thing last one, because I got to talk about Mike Blaine website. Buy us a beer. We can still take on more beer sponsors. Or get the merch, right? Cool merch is just giving her t-shirt. Man, it's hot right now. I even added my own cool logo to the store, so you can get the new Clear the Noise logo for Cashflow Mike. Doesn't matter which one. Go to the store, check out our stuff, get it, support the family. Appreciate that.
Nice. Let's do it. Do it.
Okay,
all right.
Sales fiasco. I don't know yet. I mean, was that a sales fiasco? Because what we're talking about is that when you nail it. When you hit it out of the park. When the conversation just flows and a problem, just exists and presents itself, and you got the right solution at the right time for the right price for the right person. Those stories and you feed off of that. But we've also had the opposite, right? We've had the opposite where immediately like going, oh shit, I got to get out of this somehow because it's not going anywhere. This is a complete disaster. Have you felt like that? Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's but my attitude has changed so much. When I first got into business a lot of years ago, 99, I think, those sales calls, when they went bad, it felt like the world was going to end to me. They're like, oh, if this person won't buy or they don't get it or whatever, nobody will, and as the years have gone on, it's changed a lot. And so now when something goes, like if you have a bad sales call, it actually, I don't feel bad. I actually kind of feel good because it's like, geez, that actually sort of validated that the last 15 calls were terrific. Like it validates that it's like, yeah, like they're not bullshitting me. These other ones, these ones that were excited and love what we're doing, is validated by a bad sales call,
Well, I mean, you can just really dial in your message, right? From these bad ones, like, what was it? They said something, they thought something, what was it me to begin with? Did I not talk to a qualified person? I'm so much more dialed in. I used to thought it was just smoke. You're like, oh, this is all just smoke. The value, the mission, the cores, the buyer persona. Man, I'm telling you, the tighter your message, the easier the sale. The tighter your message, the easier the sale. And it just happens over and over and over again. When I've been the most embarrassed, and I'll tell you, the most embarrassed on a sales call is when I'm the least prepared.
Yeah.
If I try to do a new slide deck, if I try to put in something new and I haven't talked it through internally or just to myself and I fumble over it, I mean, I can feel the heat in my head as it's happening, right? From a salesperson perspective, like, oh, I'm struggling here. I'm failing.
Yeah. And those are so frustrating. And the ones that are frustrating because you nailed you hit the nail on the head with why a sales call doesn't go good. There's two reasons. One, it's a poorly qualified prospect. Like it's the wrong person. You're talking to the wrong person. It doesn't matter how good your pitch is. It's going nowhere. It's going to be a complete waste of time. The ones where you start feeling the heat and you feel is when this person is a good lead. This is a qualified person. Like we know we should be able to help them. And you bugger it up. And and a lot of times, like you said, it's that preparation because there's times where the messages and that I felt really dialed in. And there's other times, and especially what happens, especially with our business is when there's big changes kind of in what we're doing, or there's this little adjustment, we're targeting a new market, we're doing something like that. The first ones you get schooled every time. And it's amazing because you learn so much So it helps fix the problems. Those bad calls are the best calls because you learn so much, but they're the most uncomfortable, frustrating calls because like I've done it before, where you like, how come they're not hearing? How come I'm not getting this message? How come? And you learn from it, but it's a hard lesson.
Well, I mean, in software, it's even harder, right? Because you actually put trust and control in the product. You're like, it's supposed to do this. And then it doesn't for whatever reason. You can do 5 demos and it just worked great. And then all of a sudden it's not, and you can't figure out why. And it's just like, that's when I get embarrassed. I'm like, because I've just really elevated. This is the best solution ever. We're going to do this, that, and the other, and it's going to change your life. Yeah. But it's not working right now. So I'm going to have to figure this out.
Well, like I've had a friend of mine's a brilliant salesman, like highly experienced. And he told me years and years ago, he's like, don't ever do a live software demo. Like he would do like slides, PDF, like presentation and all that, which is really good advice that I do not take because honestly, I'm like driving's like, it's pretty rare but like, so driving's so reliable, you just kind of go, whatever, it'll work. Like we've got her ticking along really good right now, especially with the new build. We got it really ticking. But there could always be something, and you don't want to blow a sales call over. Sometimes it's just like their shoddy internet connection, but it can look like it's you, right? It can look bad, and that can be really frustrating.
Yeah, I've heard that advice too. And when somebody does that to me now after 10, 15 years of being software on this side, I always look at that as what they call vaporware, like going, does it really do that, or is this just your prototype? Is this just a PowerPoint that you click through? So I'm like, I never trust somebody that can't put their software up and open.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you're taking away that extra step of trying to convince them to come and try the software. Just get them into the software. And like we had a lead not too long ago come in, and within like 5 minutes they went, that's client ready. Like they were just blown away. They're like, oh my God, like, because they're used to spending a week or two and building a spreadsheet or months on onboarding. And we're like, 3-4 minutes in, you're like, holy cow, that's client ready. I could send it and start a conversation. And we had another person come in and say, I've been looking for you for 2 years. That's not because we were doing a slideshow. It's because we were in software setting up, like showing the meat, right? I'll tell you, like here's a great example. Like the last car I bought was 3 years ago here now. And I went and I looked I look at all the specs and I look at all the pictures and I look at all that stuff, and I walk in and I look at the car and everything else. And it's kind of in one ear and out the other, and I'm not very serious at all until I test drive. And then I test drive, and it was just no. And I finally went to one dealership, and they were actually closing. They were literally, it was just past, like a few minutes past closing, because I tried another car and they said, you're not leaving until you try this one. And I'm like, well, okay, let's go do it. And I went for that test drive, and like my wife said, he couldn't peel the grin off my face. And I bought, that's exactly the type of car. It wasn't that exact car, but it was that model that I bought because I got to try it. Everything else fell to the wayside. That's where the entire sale happened, with test driving the car. And so it didn't matter if I could see all the brochures and the stats and all of that garbage. It's the experience that sells you, right?
Well, buying a car is such a personal experience. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I'm kind of like that with clothes too. I can't really buy something unless I try it on. Like shoes, things. I won't buy shoes over the internet just because I gotta go try them on, because I'm kind of finicky that way. But a car to me is my least favorite activity in the world. And I've had so many bad experiences with car salesmen. Like some of them, like I pull in the lot and they're already trying to get my door open before I put the car in park. Hey, get a little room here. Give me some time. This last time, I actually had found the car that I wanted from a rental agency, though. I traveling, I rented an Expedition. I had an Infinity, and I'm like going, this Expedition actually is super nice. So I actually bought it online, but through the dealership.
Yeah.
Not because I don't like to negotiate, not because I don't like the process of the conversation. It's because of the time consumption.
Mm-hmm.
I never feel like it can be done in an hour or an hour and a half. It's like a 3-4 hour thing. And I'm like going, I don't even invest. I choose television shows based on how long they are now. I mean, if I'm not going to watch a movie that's 2 hours long, I'm damn sure not going to talk to a salesman for 2 hours. I mean, that's how I am. I mean, I cherish my time. It's like sleep. You know, there's one thing in the world you cannot share with another person, and that's sleep. You just can't. You got to be selfish with that, and I'm selfish with my time, right? I can't give you some of my sleep.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm exactly the same way. Like I'm so like time conscious and everything. So when I bought my car, the most recent one here. First of all, I like the place. I like the person I was dealing with. There's no negotiation. Just the price is the price, which I actually prefer because I'm like, then I don't have to get into the grind of negotiating. I'm like, yeah, I got a little bit tossed in here and there, but it's not a big deal. Right. But it was funny because he was like trying to schedule like what time I could come by tomorrow. And I'm like, I got shit to do. I'm not coming tomorrow. I'm taking the car like today. And then, oh shit. And so they're scrambling everywhere. And I'm like, I'm going for a coffee for an hour and I'll be back. And then I came back and they had it already. Cause they're like, I'm already wasting my afternoon. I'm not driving all the way back here tomorrow for this. Like, and so, but they got her ready and I was out the door and it was kind of funny because I don't think they ever do that where it's like, no, I'm leaving in like an hour with the car,
You want to hear a funny story about a sales conversation I had, not with a car salesman. It was me as the salesperson talking to somebody, and I think I was a Finograph at the time, talking to somebody about software. And the conversation was going pretty well. It was a super qualified person, but you ever have somebody just flat out lie to you? Like that can't be true. Absolutely cannot be true.
I had that just recently. I'll tell you about it after.
Yeah. All right. So this is what happened to me. I said, hey, okay, what's your name? You know, where you live? Oh, St. Louis. I used to live in St. Louis. You know, this is how the conversation was going. Well, what's your phone number? And I started writing it down. 314-798, whatever. I mean, there was more numbers there, but I'm not going to say the whole number on TV. I could have made one up, but I wrote down the number and I looked at it for a second and I said, that's my phone number. I tried to make up a phone number. It made up. The one they tried to make up was my exact phone number. My cell phone, my private cell phone number. They made up a number that was mine. Is that the craziest thing ever? Like, that's when you know the whole sales calls went crazy. Like going, I just wasted my time, their time, everybody's time. All they had to do is say, no, I think it's not for me. Not give me a fake number. Right.
That's bizarre.
And they argued with me. No, that's my phone number. I'm like, I'm going to call that number right now. That is not your phone number. That is my telephone number.
Oh man, that is crazy. And why, like, what's the point, right? Like it's okay. So my story was, I was getting a new phone like right before we left Edmonton. So I'm like, I got to get this done because we're leaving. We're heading on the road soon. I went to like several different carriers. I went to my carrier, but of course you can't get a good deal unless you change carriers. As soon as you change carriers, suddenly it's like, we can open up the whatever. So I found one place where they had the best price for exactly the same everything for the phone I wanted, all the stuff, right? And I can't remember exactly what the guy said to me, except that he lied right to my face. And I didn't even blink, but I'm like, I know you're lying. And it was because I can't remember what it was, but it was like, I think he was telling me something technical that it was like, well, it'll do that. Like, but he was trying to serve. Oh, no, I know exactly what it was. He's like, this phone will be worth like, you might as well do this because this phone will be worthless in 2 years or 3 years. I'm like, it's an iPhone 16 Pro or whatever. And he said it was be like worth $100 in 2 years or something. I'm like, no, a 15-year-old iPhone, you still get $100 for. Like, he lied to my face because he was trying to convince me to buy. And I was so frustrated. I'm like, okay, they have the best deal, but I'm not buying from this guy. And he still to this day doesn't know the reason I walked away is because he lied to my face thinking he was being smart. And I knew immediately, and it was like right there, deal's over. I got to tell you, to make things worse, he took my driver's license because he was going to write stuff down and look stuff up. I don't know why he had to have this, right? He never gave it back. What? So the next day I went, so what I did is I looked up the same carrier and I found an authorized dealer. So I'm like, okay, I'm going there because it's an authorized dealer. I'm going to be talking with the owner of the shop, and they can give me a deal, right? So I go there. We got all the way down to buying and getting the account set up. And she says, yeah, can I have your driver's license? And I look and I'm like, that asshole never gave it back. I had to drive all the way across town, Saturday traffic, go in. By the time I got to this guy, there was steam coming out of my ears. Like, just, and then he has the nerve to be like, so what do you think of my deal? And I'm like, yeah, I'll get back to you. Like, I just was so frustrated. Had to drive all the way back. It took an entire day pretty much to just get new cell phones and a new plan. Man, it was so frustrating. But he lied to me and lost the deal. And he still does not know that that's why that his sales call turned into a fiasco. He doesn't even know it. He didn't know it.
Well, it's funny. You just say he doesn't know it. Man, all right. So I used to teach a statistic, and I can't remember where I got this from, is that only 3% of the people that have a problem with you tell you about it. And I know some of these salespeople on the call right now are listening to this podcast right now are like going, thank God, I don't know how I deal with those 3, let alone the other 97 that would have a problem. But only 3%. That means 97% of the people out there are like you and I. Guess what? We're not telling the salesperson, but we're telling the world on the internet. So like my grandmother, I told that story about her going to the bank one time, right?
Yeah,
that's where that comes from. We're like going, he didn't acknowledge her, and she didn't even talk to him. She told everybody on the walk home, in the neighborhood, the family, people at dinner. She told everybody what an asshole he was, and all he was doing was talking to somebody else on the phone. He didn't know he had a problem.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The thing that this reminds me of, I want to mention outside of sales calls, is like a few years ago, we were raising money for dry run, right? And so I was pitching all the time. And so you're basically trying to sell your company to an investor. So it feels exactly the same way, right? You got your pitch and you got blah, 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 right? And I still remember the first pitch I did, and it was just like you said, it's like, this is not going well. I thought I was prepared. It's not working. It was awful. Like, it was just the worst experience. And the guy invested. So it would have been that bad, but it felt awful from my point of view. Right. But fast forward, like, a year later, a couple of years later, we're doing like maybe another round, and I'm pitching. The difference now is, if I got on a call and the pitch wasn't going well, virtually every time I'm like, I basically would qualify them within the first 2 minutes and go, yeah, this is going to be a waste of time. They don't understand what we're doing in our market. And you're wasting my time. That's how I felt. Like, you're wasting my time because I know this is going nowhere, and you're taking notes, but you're not doing anything either because you don't even get it. And the pitch, I could wake up in the middle of the night, 4 a.m., and I could just lie up in bed and into the pitch and just freaking go. Like, I had it down to a science, right? And that's really that's how sales needs to be too. Like, you need to understand your market, who you're talking to, have your pitch down pat, what the benefit is to that. Like, we've got basically three channels. They're similar, but but there's enough differences. We know exactly what their pinch points are in each one, and we keep working. How do we message to that? How do we deal with that? How do we identify? How do we qualify? Because if there's a bad call and we're buttoned up everything else, it's usually because it's the wrong person on the other end of the phone. It's not us.
Mm. Yeah, it's so powerful, right? So that leads me to another conversation, because when you say, "Hey, I knew the pitch down cold, I knew this, that, and the other," there is a debate, and I think there's a shift. Like 5, 10 years ago, and the debate I'm talking about is polished versus authentic. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that polish comes off as too slick, as too rehearsed, it's too where sometimes a stumble, a fumble, just being real, being relaxed in your presentation, the authenticity of your presentation actually is stronger than a polished, rehearsed, slick sales pitch.
Oh, I totally agree with you. When I said I could wake up at 4 a.m. and do a pitch, it was not memorized. It was never the same.
Yeah.
I had my structure because I wanted to say, here's where it comes from. Here's where my background is. Here it comes from. And I could get through it quickly. And I would know who they are. It's because I've done my homework. And so I would know where I'm angling it. So the pitch wasn't different, but I was prepared. I knew what my high points were. I knew the points I wanted to hit, but it also would have in there like your relationship building. It's a little bit of small talk. So it's not a polished presentation. It's relationship building and a conversation and a pitch and knowing what key points you have to hit. And then also when they're throwing questions at you, you're prepared. You can nail every question because you understand the product, right?
Well, and that's what I mean. When I say being prepared, to me is different than being. There's a such thing as being just too polished, too perfect. Everything about this thing is too perfect. The way he dresses, the way his hair is, the way people like to think that you're like them, right? So, and we're all just a little real. So I think if you can have a structure of your pitch, the things that you're wanting to say, but do it in a conversation that's natural. I mean, dude, this podcast is a perfect example of that. We never know where it's going to go, even though we know what we're going to talk about. That's about it.
Yeah. But and you know what, like, this is exactly like, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if you're actually polished, you're not very prepared. Right. I think what you've done is you've memorized something, and memorizing something isn't the same. Like, that's where you have no authenticity. And this is the difference. It's between knowing and understanding. Nice. If you know, you've got a script and you're just spewing it out. It's not the same as understanding what you're selling, understanding their problems, and building that relationship. To me, that's 5 steps further down the path of being prepared. And that's how you can be authentic, because you're having a true, meaningful conversation. It doesn't come off as bullshit. Speaking of sales bullshit, fiascos, you get these every day, because I know you do. These emails that come in that someone has been so incredibly lazy, they grab a template and they think I'm stupid. And you know exactly which one it is, because it always starts with something along the lines of, congratulations, I really admire how you X. And it's something they've grabbed from my LinkedIn profile. And somehow these idiots think, and if you're doing this, it's an idiotic move. Maybe I won't call you an idiot, but it's a wrong move. Because what do you think I'm thinking when I see that? Do you think I'm flattered by that? I don't even get past the first sentence and I'm gagging. I'm like, do you like that is the least authentic. This trying to fake personalize something is about the worst thing you could possibly do.
I put it in a sale, or not a sales, just a teaching presentation last year, how I got the same message from 2 different people. Same message from 2 different people with 2 different companies. The exact same message, how they were super impressed with my profile. I mean, it was like word for word. I'm like, here's one I got at 9:30 in the morning. Here's another one I got at 3:30 in the afternoon.
They've done a search on Google, went to the same blog post, copied a script. We're so bloody lazy. They just filled in a blank. But even the strategy of, I don't know anything about you, but I'm going to say, I so admire what you're doing at Dry Run. And I can always tell when a robot's grabbed it, because it'll grab like the entire title from LinkedIn instead of just Dry Run and be like, Dry Run cash flow forecasting. Like, you're like,
Yeah.
You didn't even proofread. Like
Yeah.
and like, how do they get any response? Do they convert anything off of that? Because I can't imagine getting to a good lead that way.
Now, speaking of being able to convert, being able to have a customized solution for your business, I want you to go to cashflowmike.com and check out the Clear Path to Cash. It's 8 financial strategies that help you maximize cash in any given business situation. And it's a must. And I'm telling you what, this is going to be a weird thing, but do it this year because I've been advised, Larry even has advised me to increase the price. I don't want to, but Larry said it. So Larry's our trusted advisor. If he says raise the price, we're going to raise prices. So get there this year. And let's build a customizable solution for you and stop using these templates that don't work because you need something that works in your business.
Let's have a cheers to Larry.
Yeah, it's Larry.
I'm all over the sound effects today. I usually completely forget we even have them.
Talk about a cheers, though. Pat, I don't give you very many compliments. I really don't. But by far, this is your best beer yet. Of all the ones I've had, by far, hands down, your great pumpkin ale is not only the best beer you've made me, it's the best pumpkin ale I've had ever. This is really good. Thanks, Pat.
Oh, I wish I could try it. And it's perfect timing for Thanksgiving with the pumpkin pie, and you got your pumpkin beer. That's
Really good.
Great.
It's really good. Super smooth, man. Some of them have too much spice in the back, and like this one's just perfect, just the right amount.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I've had some really awful pumpkin ales. Although I've had some really awful, like any of the flavored beers, just to be just the right balance and subtlety. Like this with the peanut butter and chocolate is actually really, really good. Because you could botch that one really bad. And pumpkins are a hard one. But when they do it right, it's really good.
All right, so we're talking about just messing up as a sales. I've got this one thing that I hate. It's unwanted follow-up. It's like I keep getting like, dumb. I go, yeah, I mean, I've already told you, hey, it's not the right timing, and then you keep on, or it's not the right this. It's like there's some unwanted. There's a point in time where it's not being persistent; it's being pushy, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably a hard line to define and a hard line to balance. But I think there's something there that you got to be able to, and where AI is not going to be good, feel it out. You got to feel it out person to person.
And it's tough. Like if someone says not a good time, for me, that's awesome because I'm like, thank God I'm not wasting any more time on you. Not that I don't like you or whatever, but I'm not wasting my time because I got stuff to do. Following up is actually like it's so necessary, and it's a tough thing to do sometimes because you're like, oh man, I'm not getting much of a response here. But boy, I'm reminded almost every week when I'm following up, and I seem to be ghosted the time before, and also I'm like, oh, thank you for following up with me. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, I guess I got it because I don't know when they're going to come back and say thank you for your persistence. Let's book a time.
Yeah,
that happens a lot for me. Thank you. Let's book a time. Oh, send me your link, whatever. So I don't know how, like, that's the thing is like, how long do you go before, if they're with no response, before you go, I guess they're just not interested versus, sorry, man, I was busy, but yeah, thanks for following up.
Yeah, no, I think it just depends. Like, I mean, some products, like there are some things that I won't unsubscribe from because I'm just not ready. It's not that I don't like what they're doing or I can't use it. It's just like going, I don't have that problem exactly right now, but I know it's coming, or I know when that problem happens, I know exactly where I'm going to go. So I keep it on my radar.
Yeah.
But even then, I think it gets too much. I'm going, man, come on, don't. Not every 2 days. I don't need an email from me. I got somebody right now that I've had for email subscription for about a year and a half, 2 years, and they're starting to annoy me. And that's a weird thing, right? After 2 years and I haven't really responded back, they're starting to annoy me. I'm thinking if they put me on a once a month, it'd be enough.
Yeah.
But I'm getting them like every other day or every day.
Yeah. And that's not like when I'm talking about frequent follow-up, our frequent follow-up's probably every 1 to 2 weeks, which probably isn't as much as it should be. if we're not getting much interest, it might be like, well, we'll touch base once a month. And then we might get to somewhere it's like, let's just touch base once a quarter, or, or whatever like that. But that to me is follow up. Like we're not on there every day or every other day. That's not even in our DNA, right?
Yeah, I think I send an email once a week, if I remember. If I remember, once a week, and I might have 2 or 3 people unsubscribe, and I'm okay with that. I'm like, it just wasn't a good fit, and not like immediately unsubscribe after they got on a list. Last week it was like unsubscribe, and they've been on the list for years. So it's like, it never came up again for them. So that's the way I look at that.
Yeah, like I never worry about unsubscribes because it's like, well, again, we're not wasting our time. We're not filling your inbox. We're not talking to you if you don't want us. And if you want us, you know where we're at. Like our newsletter it's an enormous list, and we get like a tiny. Like I'm actually shocked every week how few unsubscribes we get. You always expect more, and it's like just a handful, right? And you're like, oh, that's good. Well, they must like what we're doing, like, or tolerate, like you said. They don't want to forget we're around, so let's leave it there, right?
Might not even open it, right? I'm only getting like a 30% or so open rate. So 70% of people just hang around. They're like, man, I'm not ready yet. Yeah. But they're not.
Yeah, but they're not actively saying I want out, and that's a nice thing. Yeah.
All right. So here's what I think is. All right, so I'm in a new subdivision, right? It's newer. There's still construction going on, new homes going up.
Yeah.
But because of that, we get a lot of like door-to-door salesmen, like, people knocking on. That's got to be the hardest sales job in the world to, disturb somebody from whatever the hell they're doing in their house, make them come to the front door and get their attention to do something. Yeah. The only thing I've ever bought of somebody who's done that has been the neighbor 5 doors up selling jalapeno cheese popcorn for the Cub Scouts or something like that. But we get pest control, we get solar, you name it, we get it.
Yeah.
And these have been the most horrendous sales pitches I've ever seen. They almost piss me off instantly because of, whatever they say. It's just like a weird interaction right up front.
I guess my question is, why do you answer the door?
Yeah, I know. That's what Courtney says. She goes, yeah, just let it go. I'm like, I kind of want to hear it because believe it or not, I'm actually a student of sales, right? I teach an entrepreneurial sales course. So I'm like, I want to hear what is actively going on. And if I hear something good, I can use that as an example. If I hear something bad, I can use that as an example as well.
Yeah. It's probably going to be all bad. We just don't
they're mostly
like our house in Edmonton's got you got the door and you got the windows up the side and so they can actually look in the window and they can look and see me, across the way sitting on the couch, and I still don't answer the door.
Yeah.
Like I'll look over and I may even get eye contact. I'm like, no. And they get the picture if I go back to reading or watching TV or whatever. It's like they leave, right? They're like, I'm not answering the door. Like I don't want to talk with you. We had it's kind of funny. Years ago, my wife came in and said, hey, someone's taking pictures of the house. So like, okay, that's a little weird. So she says, like, that's strange. Like, can you go see what they? So I walked out. And I walked the guys that were down across the street already walking down the block, and I walked up and said, hey, taking pictures of our house. I just want to know what's going on. And he's like, oh no, I was filling in my like sales, whatever on my phone. It must look like they were taking pictures.
Oh.
And, anyway, I changed Wi-Fi, internet providers. Like I ended up talking with the guy and he sold me. And it was like, just because I went out to ask this guy about taking pictures, he literally sold me on it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. That's a good deal. So I'm negotiating with this guy.
All right. So Blaine just taught us a new sales technique. It's called the creepy salesman.
Creepy salesman. Exactly. Because then I walked back and my wife's like, what were they taking pictures for? Oh, they weren't taking pictures, but we just switched internet providers.
When he gets somebody come out of their house, just take a picture of it.
Just take a picture of it. Exactly. Like, oh, hilarious. So, but so obviously, but you know what's funny, because it's not like the guy was like some amazing salesman. It's just I was too lazy to check and switch into, because it's always cheaper if you switch, right?
Yeah.
And he just had a ridiculous price. That's literally all it is. Like you end up bouncing back and forth between providers. That's all you need is the price, right?
Yeah, that's right. What's funny is my favorite game to play with, either on the phone or with somebody at the door, is awkward silence. So ask the question, I'll just look at them. I just won't say anything. And it's just one of those. It's a funny thing to me. It's like a weird, like, fucking with you type thing. But it's like I'm just going to sit there, really just kind of deadpan look at you and not answer the question, no matter what it is. Have you ever thought about solar?
Nice.
The first person to blink loses, right? That's what I told myself.
Nice.
I blink, if I smile, if I crack, I lose. So it's like becomes a game, and it's the most awkward thing in the world, right? Sometimes that happens naturally, like in a conversation.
You're just thinking.
Yeah, you're just thinking. But I mean, but like, if a prospect that you don't know very well does that, it's a really uncomfortable silence. And it's powerful. It's a powerful silence, because salespeople have the need to fill the void, to keep talking past it.
Yeah. It's, I'm just shocked that you answer the phone too, because I get although I put on this filtering and stuff now, but I get, obviously, like everyone else, multiple calls a day. I don't think I've talked with a salesman on the phone in probably 2 or 3 years. And the last time I talked to someone, it's because I was expecting a different call, and it's like, oh, thought you were someone else. Click. I just don't answer the phone unless I know who it is, right?
I don't answer it very often. I probably answer it 1 out of 80 times. That was a really weird number to come up with. 1 out of 80. But that's about what it is, 1 out of 80. And it's mainly what you just said. I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't say scam likely, first of all. Normally, I don't answer it if your name's not attached to it, because that means I don't know you. But when I do answer it, I'll listen to it for a second, and I've gotten really good about just quickly cutting them off, but nicely, very politely.
Yeah. The only time I have regret is when I get a voicemail and go, oh shit, I should answer the phone. I knew that call was coming. That happens every once in a while.
Yeah, I'll set the call and forget to answer it because I don't recognize the number.
Yeah, I've done that a million times. Like, oh, that's the garage door guy. I was supposed to answer that, whatever. But anyway,
so tell me about this. It's a weird thing for you. You're right now in Arizona. It's Thanksgiving tomorrow, but didn't you just celebrate Thanksgiving last month? Do you get two things?
We get double Thanksgivings, yeah. But Canadian Thanksgiving is not the scale of U.S. Thanksgiving. It just isn't. It's I think it's a Monday. I never seem to know when it is. And we have dinner with the parents and dinner with the in-laws that weekend or whatever. But it's not really a big deal. It's just kind of sneaking along weekend. This is actually a bigger deal down here. And so like I'm taking Thursday, Friday off. I'm making a long weekend out of it. We don't have a turkey. I got some ham though. Maybe I'll try and cook that up. I'm not sure what we're going to do, but we'll probably just be out biking all weekend anyway. So.
Dude, that could be a new song. Sneaking a new, if I could say it, maybe it can't be a new song. Damn it, Pat. Sneaking a new weekend. Or long weekend. Sneaking a long weekend.
Sneaking a long weekend.
Dude, I mean, when you said it just flowed so perfectly. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. And of course, I can't say it.
I think I still have a little Canadian going on here. It'll be a month or two before I start getting that out of my. I was at a coffee shop last weekend, and I ordered a coffee, and the lady said, "Are you from the Midwest?" And I said, "No, I'm from Canada." Yeah. Oh, I thought I recognized it. I'm from Wisconsin or something. And it sounds like I'm home or something. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess I'm still in the pasta Mazda Americano instead of Americano pasta.
Oh God.
Still got to work on that. I guess.
Still say process and what's the other one?
I bounce back and forth, and it's so everyone probably thinks I'm just weird because it's sometimes process, sometimes process. It's just I must sound just weird to people, but I don't know. It'll evolve over the next few months.
Yeah, you'll be back to normal.
Back to normal, and then I have to get back to normal when I go up to Canada and talk like an American for a few months.
I don't know what it is about Wisconsin. All right, so I went there for a Packers football game, not last year. I think it was the year before. Maybe it was last year. 4 degrees outside, which is I mean, I'm in Texas. We don't get 4 degrees ever, and I don't think I've eaten as many cheese curds in my life as I did in that 3-day weekend.
Oh, those cheese curds are good.
Yeah, but they fry them too, though, right? They fry them, and then there's some of them that are naked that have got like a little slime to them, though, or it's like a little slimy.
They squeak, yeah. Squeak. Like that's what they put on poutine. They'll put cheese curds on poutine and that, and not healthy. None of that's healthy at all.
So poutine is gravy on French fries, right?
It's gravy with cheese curds on French fries, yeah. Not long after we were married, we were in Montreal and
you drink it.
Yeah, and we don't really have it out west. It's frankly. Camera, like a digital camera, because there were no phones that did that at the time. And I was filming her because I'm like, she's so excited about the poutine. It's going to be such a great video of how she excited she is about the poutine. And when she takes a bite and she just is like kind of chewing with this look of pure disgust on her face. And I said, "Oh, how is it?" And she's like, "It's good." Because we walked all over town trying to find poutine. She was not a fan of poutine, and I like poutine. I think it's really good, not healthy, but really good. But she did not like it.
It's all over the, I guess the western side, right? It's Vancouver,
eastern side.
No, I've ate it in Vancouver and Victoria, and not the same.
You can sort of get it, but it's not. That's not where poutine is from, and it's not. It'd be kind of like recent. I don't know what you say. Like it's almost like the food truck sort of stuff. Like it's very recent and it's not bad, but it's not. That's not where poutine is. Like you go to Quebec to have poutine, to get legit poutine. So,
all right. So I have got to head to the in-laws' house for dinner. It's Thanksgiving, and well, by the way, I want to thank Larry, Rachel, and neighbor Pat, all of our beer sponsors. I want to thank you for being such an awesome co-host, and I appreciate you, and I'm thankful for our relationship. How about that?
Yeah, no, happy Thanksgiving, man. I'm thankful too. This is the highlight of my week. It is so much fun, and I'm also looking forward to having a little bit of just Thanksgiving time over the next couple of days here. It's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to the weekend here. So, yeah, this is a blast, and everybody, make sure you subscribe, you follow us. We'll be thankful to have more listeners and more followers and enjoy your Thanksgiving, and make sure you get to our Facebook page so you can see the best WKRP clip in history.
There you go. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.